Good afternoon to the United Nations Global Compact Committee and everyone present here. Today, we have come together to discuss the pressing issues in accordance to the Global Compact principles. First, we would like to introduce ourselves, followed by the topics that we will be presenting. The first part of the presentation will be the representative introduction, followed by the theme, the principles to address, issues to be discussed, the project, the key performance indicators, the challenges that we may face, and finally, the outreach platforms. And before I introduce myself, I would like to introduce my other associate in no particular order. Starting from our only lady here, Ms. Rebecca Tan, and she is the representative of Kia Motors Corporation, and she is the Business Development Executive. Next is Mr. Edward Gusti. He is the representative of Woodside Petroleum, and he is the Chief Operations Officer. Followed by the third speaker, which is Mr. Trang Nguyen. He is the representative of BHP Billiton, and he is the Communications Coordinator. And finally, myself, I am Eldon Santoso. I am from Philip Morris International, and I am the Head Manager of Communications. The four of us represented here believe that there are still many people who do not have the means to fight for their rights. We strongly believe in the commitment of Charter of United Nations that all human beings in this earth are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. When we say that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights, it means that we are all the same, and we all do have the same rights, according to every little detail in life. It means that everyone has to have the same opportunities in life, like for example, getting a job and education. Education is not only meant for higher, middle, or even lower classes. Education is meant for everyone. And in fact, this was the problem in life, in which that the society divides the world in classes, whereas the higher classes gets all the benefits, while very few people really mind the poor or even lower classes. Since ages, people have been up in abusing the less fortunate for their own benefits. Therefore, the four of us here have come together to help these people to solve for their problems by addressing on two principles, in which the first principle will be the principle 1, whereas the businesses should support and respect the protection of internationally proclaimed human rights. Proclaimed human rights that are covered on principle 1 is basically rights on protecting life and security, such as freedom from slavery punishment. Secondly, it is the economic rights, in which it includes the standard of living and educates for health and well-being, such as food, clothing, and even housing. And the second principle will be the principle 9, in which that businesses should encourage the development and diffusion of environmentally friendly technologies. It literally means that the technologies that's been used for the production processes should protect the environment, should be less polluting, and should at least do recycle more of the waste product. And the next part of the presentation will be presented by my other associate, which is Mr. Gusti.
Thank you, Mr. Santoso. Now I would like to begin with a quote from George Bush. He said, "Education is the key to the opportunity, and it is a ticket out of poverty." This quote encapsulates our beliefs for our project, and therefore sets the pace for our project that we will be presenting very shortly. Our project implementation area will be in India. Why we choose India? It is because India is a closer country to our home Singapore. Therefore, it allows us to gain access to the area of our project implementation more often. India has the second largest population in the world, which consists of 1.25 billion people, out of which 70% of them are living in rural areas. Can you imagine that? It is quite a huge amount of people there. On the other hand, is the poverty line graph. Poverty line refers to the estimated minimum level of income needed for someone to fulfill their necessities of life. As we can see, 30% out of the whole population in India are still living below the poverty line. As for the record, 30% out of the whole population in India is almost equal to the USA population alone, which consists of 322 million people. Now, I would like to address the problem that Indian education is currently facing. So, despite the countless effort of non-governmental organizations in set up and build education facilities, often they are still experiencing problems such as low attendance at school. Why is that so? It is because there's strong culture. So the parents believe that if they send one of their children to the schools, they might lose one worker on the field. Therefore, it will definitely affect their livelihood farming activities. Therefore, we have come up with a solution to this problem, which is EduTrove. Edu simply stands for education, and trove simply refers to something precious and valuable. And this is the logo of EduTrove, a treasure chest with a light beaming out of it. The light beaming out of the chest refers to the mystery, which is the potential of the children that we are going to help in the future. Now, as for our mission, is to improve student attendance and performance consistently throughout educational facilities in rural villages. As our vision, every child within the area of implementation will complete their secondary education by year 2025. Why year 2025? It is because our project implementation will last for approximately 10 years. Now, our project will not be successful without the help from the organization and partners that understand more about the culture and the people in India. As for that reason, we have decided to incorporate with an Economic Rural Development Society, which is an NGO or non-governmental organization that is located at West Bengal, India. Why we chose this particular organization? It is because this organization has the similar goals to our project EduTrove. So basically, ERDS is providing the basic needs for the children to attend the school. They provide the books, the tuition, the food, and also the health care. And the main target of ERDS is mainly focusing on the families that are willing to send their children to school, however they are unable to provide the money. The children will attend a selection number of schools run by ERDS until class 4, and then will be encouraged to join another school by the government to continue their further education. And we chose Vikahar School for our project in helping Indian children to have a better education. Vikahar School alone is located at Ramchandrapur, West Bengal, and then this area is self-governed. Thank you for the time. Now I would like to pass our next part of presentation to my associate, Mr. Nguyen. Please welcome Mr. Nguyen.
Thank you, Mr. Gusti. As Mr. Gusti mentioned earlier, our project will be run at Vikahar School. So the primary focus of Vikahar School is the children from Dalit, which is the lowest class in the Hinduism society. Especially, class discrimination is still a controversial issue in the rural area of India. The second group of children are from different tribes. The secondary focus of Vikahar School is encouraging the students to go to their formal school. As you can see from the slide here, the number of students at Vikahar village is still very low, only 25. And the student over teaching ratio is only 8/1. Therefore, we hope that our incorporation between our association and EIS could improve the attendance at Vikahar village. For achieving a successful project, we have set a roadmap of 3 phases. The first phase will be run from the 1st of August 2016 to the 1st of December 2019. Basically, the first phase will be start from the last 4 months of 2016, and we and Vikahar School will implement a class test. For every student who achieves over 70% for this test will receive 50% fee sponsorship from us. In 2017, we will approach the families in Vikahar village and give them more incentive to send their children to the school. Basically, for every child represented, represented. We will provide them a portable solar panel system, which costs about $670. It could be used to run about 3 lamps, a couple of fans, and a TV. And of course, the most important benefit of this solar panel system is reducing the electricity bill for those families. So how we are going to implement our project? First and foremost, we want to increase the awareness of our project amongst the people of Bikaha village by word of mouth. It can be done with the help from volunteer representatives from our companies, and of course the employees from ERDS and the local residents. As I mentioned earlier, one solar portable system will cost about $670. Now moving on our second phase, it will start from the 1st of January 2020 to 31st of December 2022. In 2020, we offer life skill classes and school work program. The life skill class will provide the basic skills for the parent and the children. For example, plumbing, sewing, planting vegetables for food, and the most important skill is project management, so that they are empowered with the skill to take over the ongoing project in the village. The school work will be provided to pick up and drop the student from their home to school, and of course from the school to their home. In 2021, we will set a project named Nourish Our Tutoring Program. We will try to employ the students that have complete secondary school at Bikaha village. And they will be tutors to their siblings, their friends, for the HR knowledge that they may not gain from a formal school. By recruiting our alumni, we hope that we can create job opportunities and empowerment for them. Let's consider in more detail. As I mentioned earlier, our project will start from 2010. The second phase will start from 2020. However, we plan to do the recruitment of life skill teacher in November 2019. Why is that? Because we want to have enough time for reviewing the applications which are most appropriate to our project. And lastly, vehicle donation. Vehicle donation will be donated by Kia Motors, and the source of petrol will be donated by Rusai Petroleum. After the year 2022, we also have a plan of expanding our project to the other parts of West Bengal. And that will be delivered to you by Ms. Tan from Kia Motors. Ms. Tan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Nguyen. By 2023, we foresee that Project EduTrove in Ramjamtapur village will be stabilized. Hence, in phase 3, we would like to extend our reach to another village called Habibpur. We will follow the same implementation plan, of course, making necessary changes that are specific to the needs of each village. This phase spans over 3 years. The implementation of phase 3 includes setting up a new local committee. Moving on to the next slide. Setting up a new local committee together with our ERDS counterparts. Also, we would like to take into consideration to provide transportation for our local alumni tutors as well as our ERDS volunteers to facilitate movement between these two places, Ramjandapur and Habibpur village. Having now discussed the details of Project EduTrove, we would like to take a look at the benefits of this outreach on a whole. In Ramjandapur, there are approximately 900 children, while in Habibpur, there are approximately 654 children. In total, that gives us 1,554 children, of whom are aged 0 to 12 years old. Let us not forget that this data was taken in 2011 by the Census of India. The population must have grown since then, thus increasing the number of beneficiaries to our project. Here, we look at the contributions of each company. The 4 companies represented here will contribute an annual funding of USD $600,000, with specific company contributions that will be required at the time of implementation. This was mentioned by my associate, Mr. Nguyen, who mentioned that Kia Motors and Woodside Petroleum will be supplementing its vehicles as well as its petrol to phase 2 of the project. Each company will also have to select and dedicate a team of 20 individuals to the CSR EduTrove volunteer team who will make annual visits to India to oversee and facilitate ongoing works. Moving on. Coming together as one, we foresee possible challenges ahead of us. The initial stages of growing awareness of the incentivized system is highly crucial, and if this information is not well disseminated, it would mean that we would have failed to reach out to every single family in the village, and this hampers our plans thereafter. Secondly, we would like to talk about cultural resistance. There is a possibility of a backlash if the locals actually interpret our efforts as being disruptive to families and their farming activities. Lastly, the lack of control of implementation. As we are unable to oversee this project 24/7, it also means that we are unable to assess quality control issues such as student performance, as well as the attendance of our student tutors. Of course, there are far more many challenges ahead of us. After all, it is a 10-year-long project. However, time does not permit us to discuss all of that in detail right now. Over here, you're looking at our implementation chart. It shows a very clear summary of what my associate Mr. Nguyen and I have shared with you. It also shows a timeline of the 3 different phases, as well as their various kickoff dates. I will not delve into further details here. You will be pleased to know that following the preparation of Project EduTrove to date, we have already jumped onto the social media bandwagon. Right now, you're looking at our Facebook page, next our Twitter page, as well as our website and blog created. We aim to stay connected to our followers, the people and our customers who truly envision the same goals and the same mission of Project EduTrove as us. This could also work as a platform to recruit individuals who are like-minded and would like to contribute their time and their resources to aiding the beautiful villages of rural India. Unfortunately, we do not have the time of giving you a live demonstration of the website, though we certainly do hope that you will take your own time to click on the link and find out more about Project EduTrove and our cause. On an ending note, my associates and I recognize the fact that no one person, no organization, or even a combined effort of these two can fully or totally eliminate poverty in the world. Yet, we can say it is close to impossible. Yet, all we hope to do is to bridge and close the gap between wealth disparities and poverty. And to this end, we seek your approval, your support, and your confidence as we stand by our convictions to helping others in the world. Thank you, and we would like to ask if you have any questions for us.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions here. Regarding on your implementation area is India, right? Considering the culture that the elderly will lose one farmer for every children who goes to school, why do you have any other reasons why your project implemented is in India? Why don't you choose other countries or other places?
I think the first reason we mentioned was that India is close to home. That's one thing. So that improves access of the area of project that we are implementing. So initially we did think of Africa, but I think that India has closer bilateral and regional relations with Singapore, and hence that really empowers our working relationship as well. Taking the reason into account that India is closer to home, this improves our access to the area of project. So it is also safer for us to send our volunteers over to India, and hence that's the reason for our choice.
Yeah. And the second question is, why do you place so much emphasis on teaching the local project management?
The reason for that, I have mentioned earlier that by giving them the skill of project management, they are empowered with the skill to run the project in the future. Because in the future, in a certain time, we may not there. So I think the Indian people have to stand on their own foot. So we want to give them the HR skill that we have them a better future.
Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. Good questions. Thank you. I've got 3 questions for the team. Number 1 is a multiple question. I really like your logo, the treasure chest, and the name, EduTrove. I think it's very appropriate. However, I really like to know more about your idea of education. Who are the tutors? How are you training and preparing the tutors? And besides project management, what modules might you be teaching?
Actually, we may not have explained this in detail. Well, the school is actually already existing. There's a school facility that has already been set up by ERDS. So basically, the school is called Vita FP School. So it's already an existing school, but Project EduTrove actually aims to improve their student attendance because currently what they're facing, the problem they're facing is that there's very, very low student attendance, although the facility is there, but yet the students are not turning up because of the reasons that we mentioned earlier. So the tutors are actually under the control of ERDS. Of course, we will have to work more with them, we have to meet with them, and we have to understand the schedule of the classes, what exactly they're teaching, but that is not under our control. So that will work closely with them. We are also in charge of recruiting and hiring the graduates who will come back. Of course, that is our idea, but implementation and the recruitment will be handling it mostly to our ERDS partners who are locals there, and they will understand and they will be able to access, in their own language especially, they will be able to access the quality and the capabilities of the graduates that we are hiring back. So the Knowledge Hour program is actually just a day program. It's like extra tuition actually to help the students who are a bit weaker in the exams in their languages. So that is mainly what we are doing.
Right, so you're working with ERDS and you see that they have a constraint. They have a school but the students are not turning in. So what's the main reason for this constraint? Is it they're afraid of losing that family income? They're sending them to work. So how are you going to fill this gap? Why are you asking the children to come to the school?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Okay,
one more time?
ERDS, they have not had a lot of success in the past, right? So how are you going to fill the gap
I think
of encouraging the students better attendance?
I think that's when our incentives come in. So that firstly we help to bridge the gap between why parents don't understand why do my kids need to go to school when they can work for me and we can increase our family income in that sense. So firstly we incentivize them. First to get them to come to the school.
How do you incentivize?
As mentioned earlier, that we will give them 50% for the scholarship if they get more than 70% for the test. And the second one is we give the families the solar panel system. Basically, that will help them to reduce the electricity bill, so they could think that they can spend more money for their children.
I think firstly is to incentivize them to come so that they recognize that school is actually not that bad. And then after that that's when we implement the life skill classes that is only taught to parents and children of within the school, and that's where they learn that they have a better idea of what education is, and also that these skills can be put to use in their own farming activities, for example. And I think we actually aim to change their perception of what school and sending their child to school is. Yeah.
But you're not supplementing their income.
Sorry?
You are giving incentives of a different kind, but you're not helping to supplement that income.
Their family's income?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Okay. How sustainable is this program?
In terms of
How many years will it be? If you see the effects, the positive effects, like in 5 years' time, 10 years' time?
the entire project is a 10-year long project, so we hope to see these results. We'll review the results. We'll review the project midway, so in 5 years' time, and then of course in the last year we said that we will implement this project in another village called Habibpur, and midway through that project we will have to review that again and see if we are able to sustain this project another 10 years, and that's based on our current goals and our available resources for the next decade.
Thank you, everyone. Give them a round of applause.
Yang ini kan
Okay, team,
Ini ya?
everyone, we take a